Presidential election is not for boys, it's for men. Any politician who is scared of going into presidential primary election and leaves ADC because of it to another party is an agent to get him re-elected.
With these individual ambitions, in your view,
yes,
rock? Because it's a lot of ambition from a lot of strong people.
Yes.
How do you keep it together with all these very strong people?
Very good. There is only one way to keep them together. Conduct a free, fair presidential primary election, and whoever wins, every other person will support the person. Any politician who is scared of going into presidential primary election and leaves ADC because of it to another party is an agent to get him re-elected.
But you see, I'm referring to some things that we just heard recently. We heard Dele Momodu talking about how much they were, $30,000 we're hearing for delegates, you know. So
good.
Now that you have these very many players, their wealth is not the same.
Good.
How is the influence of money going to affect how you pick a presidential candidate in the ADC if these primaries hold?
Very good. In politics, you have discretionary expenses, you have mandatory expenses, meaning you must have minimum amount of money in order to even operate. So anybody telling you he doesn't give money in politics is a liar, because there are mandatory expenses you must have to carry out.
Would the deepest pockets have more influence?
Now, wait a minute. You have 176,000 polling units. You expected to have polling agent in all of them, even if you want to give them 20,000 for them to transport themselves on that day to go. Check it and tell me how much it is. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there is basic amounts that you know you will spend. In 2023, I know what we suffered. We didn't have agents in some of the polling units, and it was part of the reason they stole our election. Now in 2027, if you are a candidate, you must have to prove to me that you would have to be able to provide for those things. Presidential election is not for boys, it's for men. If you say you want to go into presidential primary and you say, no, these people, they will outspend you. These people, they will... Let me ask you, does the presidential primary make you the president? So if you're afraid they will outspend you, how come you shouldn't be more afraid of the general election when an incumbent will outspend you for more than 100%? In 2027, I will no longer want to hear a candidate telling me that in this primary, I won't participate because it is dollarized, because it is... Then don't try to compete with an incumbent. So it's either you are able as a leader to influence your leaders, to influence your followers through inspiration, to convince them to vote for you despite the fact that you didn't give them money. That is part of leadership. Or step aside, because fighting an incumbent is different from fighting when there is no incumbent. The incumbent have the resources of the state. He has the security forces of the state. And then you're saying, oh, give me tickets in the primary. Oh, these people will outspend you. And you want to go to a new party where they will give you the ticket. And when they give you the ticket, you will go and waste it.
Kenneth Okonkwo unraveled so fast. He really exposed himself so fast. He didn't even take time. He didn't even hide. He is worse than Reno Omokri and Dan Ebuala. This is the same Kenneth Okonkwo, a man who once stood tall as a spokesperson for Peter Obi's Labour Party campaign in 2023. He has now turned his back on the principles he once championed. This is not just a change of heart. It's a full-blown ideological betrayal, orchestrated by no other person, by the dollar of Atiku Abubakar, the perennial presidential hopeful, who appeared desperate to secure the African Democratic Congress ADC flag for 2027. Kenneth Okonkwo's comments in favor of politicians buying delegates during primaries, a practice he once condemned, reveal a man who has been bought, not just swear, but by inducement of Atiku Abubakar's dollar. Let me take you back to 2023. Kenneth Okonkwo was a vocal figure in Peter Obi's Labour Party campaign. A man who stood on platforms across Nigeria, on TV stations, thundering against the corrupt practice of buying delegates during party primaries. He was a voice of the obedience movement, a movement that rallied millions of Nigerians around the idea of clean, transparent and principled leadership. He joined the obedience movement because of the principled leadership of Mr. Peter Obi, because of we know they give shishi. Okonkwo called out the rot in Nigerian politics, specifically targeting the People's Democratic Party primaries, where it was widely reported that aspirants like Nyesom Wike were splashing upward of $30,000 per delegate to secure votes. This obscene monetization of the democratic process was one of the key reasons Peter Obi left the PDP for the Labour Party in 2022. Peter Obi, a man known for his frugality and principled stance against corruption, could not stomach the transactional politics that defined the PDP's primary process. Okonkwo, as Peter Obi's spokesperson, was right there with him, amplifying his message. He decried the way Nigerian politicians turned primaries into a marketplace, where loyalty was bought with dollars and integrity was sold to the highest bidder. Kenneth Okonkwo's fiery speeches and media appearances made him a darling of the obedience movement, a symbol of the fight for a new Nigeria. But fast forward to 2025, the same Kenneth Okonkwo is singing a different tone. Kenneth Okonkwo has brazenly declared that he will not support any candidate unwilling to buy his way around during primaries. This is not just a change of opinion. It is a complete betrayal of everything he once stood for. It is a slap in the face to millions of Nigerians who believe in his call for reform. And it's a direct attack on Peter Obi, who has consistently criticized the corrupt practice of delegate buying. How did we even get here? How did a man who built his political relevance on the back of Peter Obi's clean campaign suddenly become an advocate for the very corruption he once condemned? The answer lies in three words: Atiku Abubakar dollars. Since Kenneth Okonkwo joined the ADC, a party that Atiku Abubakar has recently decamped to, preparing for the 2027 presidential election, he has been on a mission to undermine Peter Obi. His recent comments are not just a defense of delegate buying. They are a calculated, subtle attack on Peter Obi's integrity and principles. Kenneth Okonkwo knows that Obi's refusal to engage in transactional politics makes him a threat to Atiku's ambition to become the ADC presidential flag bearer. Atiku Abubakar, a man who has run for president 6 times and counting, is no stranger to the game of money politics. Report from the 2022 PDP primaries, as documented by Sahara reporters, revealed that Atiku Abubakar dished out upwards of $50,000 per delegate to secure votes. This is the same Atiku who, after losing the 2023 election, has now set his sight on the ADC, hoping to consolidate power and outmaneuver Peter Obi in the race for the party ticket. Kenneth Okonkwo's sudden shift in ideology is no coincidence. It's a hallmark of a man who has been bought. Atiku Abubakar, with his deep pockets and decades of political maneuvering, is clearly pulling the strings. Kenneth Okonkwo's role seems to be to chip away at Peter Obi's credibility, to paint him as naive or ineffective for refusing to play the dirty game of delegate buying. By endorsing the practice he once condemned, Kenneth Okonkwo is signaling his allegiance to Atiku's camp. We strive on the transactional politics that Peter Obi has consistently rejected. This is not just about winning a primary. It is about breaking Obi's rank, diminishing his relevance, and forcing him into a corner where he might have to accept a subordinate role as Atiku Abubakar presidential candidate. Kenneth Okonkwo's endorsement of delegate buying is not just a betrayal of Peter Obi. It's a dangerous endorsement of a system that produces corrupt leaders who prioritize personal gain over governance. When politicians spend millions or even billions of naira to secure party nominations, they enter office with one primary goal: to recoup their investment. This is the root of Nigeria's governance crisis. Leaders who buy their way into power are not focused on building roads, improving healthcare, or creating jobs. Their focus is on looting the treasury to recover the fortunes they spent on campaigns and to prepare for the next election. This vicious circle has left Nigeria's economy in tatters, its infrastructure crumbling, and its people suffering. Let's even break this down. In the 2022 PDP primaries, it was reported that over 700 delegates were offered $50,000 each by top aspirants like Atiku and Nyesom Wike. With 700 delegates, that is over $35 million. When you multiply that by the 700 naira exchange rate as of then, that will give you 24.5 billion naira. 24.5 billion naira spent on just one primary in one night. And remember, this is not business money. This is public money that was stolen from the government coffers. This is money that could have built hospitals, schools, or power plants. Instead, it was used to bribe delegates, ensuring that the candidate with the deepest pocket had the best chance of winning. Once in office, these leaders are beholden to their financial backers and their own needs to recover their investment. The results? Rampant corruption, mismanagement, and a government that served the elite rather than the people. Kenneth Okonkwo newsstand legitimized this toxic system by saying he will support a candidate who doesn't buy his way around. He's endorsing a culture where leadership is auctioned to the highest bidder. This is a direct threat to Nigerians' democracy. It ensures that only the corrupt or the compromised can rise to power, leaving no room for principled leaders like Mr. Peter Obi, who refuse to play this dirty game. It is a system that rewards greed and punishes integrity. Kenneth Okonkwo's decision to champion it shows he has abandoned the fight for a better Nigeria in favor of personal gain. But one thing is certain, Mr. Peter Obi will never be bent. He will never join them in their dirty politics. Mr. Peter Obi's refusal to engage in money politics has made him a target for the Nigerian political elite. Unlike Atiku, Wike, or Tinubu, Obi has built his campaign on competence, transparency, and a genuine commitment to the people. Peter Obi's obedience movement, which galvanized millions of young Nigerians in 2023, is a direct challenge to the status quo. He didn't just campaign, he inspired hope in a generation tired of recycled politicians and empty promises. This is why politicians like Atiku, Tinubu, and even Anambra's own governor, Chukwuma Soludo, see Obi as a threat. Atiku knows that Obi's popularity and principle stance could overshadow him in ADC primaries. If Obi emerged as the ADC flag bearer, Atiku's decade-long dream of becoming president could be dashed once again. Tinubu, now a president, fears Mr. Peter Obi's growing influence, especially after Obi won Lagos State. These attacks are not about Obi's competence. They are about his refusal to play by the rules of Nigerian corrupt political class. Obi is a stumbling block to their easy access to the national treasury. A leader like Obi, who doesn't need to recoup billions spent on campaign, who focus on governance, building infrastructure, improving education, and tackling insecurity. This terrifies politicians who thrive on looting public funds. By refusing to buy delegates or engage in transactional politics, Mr. Peter Obi threatens their entire system. That's why Atiku, through pros like Kenneth Okonkwo, is working to undermine him, hoping to force him out of the ADC or relegate him to a vice presidential role. Kenneth Okonkwo's transformation from a reformist to a mouthpiece for Atiku corrupt ambition is a tragedy. His endorsement of delegate buying is not just a personal failing, it's a dangerous signal that Nigerians' political elite will stop at nothing to maintain their grip on power. By aligning with Atiku and attacking Peter Obi, Kenneth Okonkwo has shown that his loyalty lies with dollars, not principles. The 2027 elections are a chance for Nigeria to break free from the circle of corruption and misgovernance. Peter Obi represents that chance. A leader who has proven he can govern without looting, who can inspire without bribing, and who can unite without dividing. But for Obi to succeed, Nigeria must reject the likes of Kenneth and Atiku, who want to drag us back into the dark days of money politics. We must demand transparent primaries, support candidates who prioritize governance over personal gain, and protect our democracy from those who see it as a marketplace. To Kenneth Okonkwo, I say this to you. Shame on you. You have betrayed the trust of millions who believe in your call for a new Nigeria. You have sold your conscience for Atiku dollars, and history will judge you harshly. To Nigerians, I say, stand with Peter Obi, stand for integrity, stand against the corruption that Kenneth Okonkwo now champions. Our future depends on it. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.